Meantime, FBI agents here in Atlanta say they just seized enough drugs to kill millions of people.
The feds just made a massive move, and the streets are buzzing. Future's real-life brother, FBG Casino, just got hit with federal charges that could have him locked up for life. Behind all the ice, flashy fits, and wild nightlife, the man was allegedly running something way deeper than rap. Agents claim they found 21 kilos of illegal goods and nearly $400,000 in cold cash. That's wild, but here's where it gets even crazier. The story behind what took Casino down ain't as simple as it sounds. This isn't just a random bust. Word is, the Fed's been watching, stacking evidence, and building a case that might climb higher than anyone expected, maybe even touching Future himself. The whole Atlanta scene is shook right now. Now let's get real. This situation's got layers. The internet's going crazy, but most people don't know the half of it. Yeah, folks online love to throw dirt, but we're about to break it down. The truth, the lies, and everything in between. November 19th, 2025. That was the day everything changed for Rico DeVille Boyce, better known as FBG Casino, Future's actual blood brother. This 41-year-old wasn't even in his own spot. He was laid up at an Airbnb in Forest Park, Georgia, when the feds stormed in like a full-blown movie scene. But don't get it twisted. This ain't your everyday street bust. We're talking serious federal time, mandatory minimums, and a case that's got Rico's name written all over it. Things are about to get real messy. Now this is where things start heating up for real. People have been asking, if Casino's been living like this for years, why the sudden crackdown now? Why him, and why this moment? Well, here's how it went down. On November 14th, 2025, a full-on task force rolled up. FBI, DEA, and Clayton County Police all teamed up like it was straight out of an action flick. They surrounded that Forest Park rental like it was a movie set, and the timing couldn't have been tighter. As soon as Casino spotted them pulling up, he tried to make a break for it through the side door. 41 years old, still moving like he's on the block in his 20s. But come on, the feds don't move sloppy. These agents had this entire play mapped out. They'd been watching, tracking, and waiting for the perfect moment. When they caught him trying to dip, they searched him and found about $4,000 cash stuffed in his pockets. Light work for someone who was allegedly moving big business. In the streets, running from the cops is pure instinct, no lie. But when it's federal agents chasing you, that's a whole new level of danger. This wasn't no small-time corner hustle either. This was a setup that looked like a professional operation, organized and connected. And here's where it gets even more wild. The feds also snatched up a 23-year-old from Coachella, California, named David S. Devin Montello Diaz, who was allegedly linked to Casino.
That's kind of very alarming to me. Why the hell would Future's blood brother, who kind of like runs the FBG label, why would he have a bunch of like, do people keep for their own personal use? No, right? I don't know too much about like that type of drugs, but no, right? So that kind of seems like they're doing some drug dealing, right? 21 kilos? Wow.
That interstate connection might have been what lit up the radar for the feds in the first place. This thing is bigger than anyone thought. When you start pushing product from California all the way to Georgia, that's not just street business anymore. That's interstate trafficking. And that's when the feds step in heavy. This young dude from the West Coast probably thought he was catching an easy flip, but now he's facing the exact same life sentence as Casino. The feds said they caught Casino with $4,000 in his pockets, but that was just petty cash compared to what they found inside the crib. We're talking 21 kilograms of illegal product, nearly $380,000 in neatly stacked rubber-banded bills, a money counter, vacuum sealer, and a Glock 19 sitting nearby. That's not some small-time setup, that's a full-blown, well-oiled operation, and it doesn't stop there. The feds even said they found another $80,000 tucked inside a designer bag that allegedly belonged to Casino. Man was living like a boss, dripping luxury, while his brother Future sitting on hundreds of millions. Wild contrast. But here's what's really jaw-dropping. Casino literally showed up in Future's music video, Feds Did a Sweep. And in that same video, he's surrounded by money, substances, and the same lifestyle that just landed him in this federal nightmare. It's like real life and rap got blurred. Was he living his lyrics or just performing them? Either way, it's crazy how close art and reality collided right in front of everyone's eyes. And the twist? This ain't even new for Casino. He's been open about his past from the start, talking about his hustle days in interviews, even naming a mixtape ex-drug dealer back in 2013. But looking at things now, that ex might have just been for show because the lifestyle clearly never left him. This story just keeps getting deeper. Let's lay out Casino's timeline because this story didn't just pop up overnight. It's been brewing for more than a decade. Back in 2013, he dropped his ex-drug dealer mixtape, claiming he was done with the streets and all about the music. The project was stacked too. Features from Future, Young Scooter, and production from Metro Boomin and Zaytoven, the biggest names in Atlanta's sound. At that time, Casino was positioning himself as the next one up, the guy who left the trap behind to chase success the right way. But then fast forward to 2017, and the story takes a wild turn. Casino's out here doing interviews with DJ Small's Eyes, talking about how trapping is dead, saying real hustlers don't even exist anymore. He was literally on camera explaining how the game changed, that people got careless, posting their moves on social media and basically handing the feds everything they need. The irony? That's exactly what he ended up doing. Building his own case piece by piece through years of interviews, posts, and flashy videos. It's almost like he was documenting his downfall in real time. Then came that street politician interview. Casino riding around, allegedly armed, bragging about having shooters on deck, flexing inside a Rolls Royce with weapons visible in the back. The internet went wild over it. People filled the comments saying he was reckless, calling the whole thing straight up self-snitching. One comment even hit hard, saying, "How many homies gotta go to the feds before these dudes realize these videos are just self-incrimination?" And looking back, that person was right on the money. For anyone who doesn't really get how the street world works, let me break it down. In that life, perception is power, but sometimes the image ends up costing everything. When your own brother's sitting on $50 to $100 million like Future, and you're still out here risking everything on the streets, that's either pride, stubbornness, or something way deeper in the culture. In the streets, they call that not wanting to feel dependent. But Casino, he took that mindset to the extreme. Some people would rather gamble it all than live in someone else's shadow, even when that someone is your own family. But here's where things get tricky. Casino wasn't just Future's brother. He was also tied into the FBG business side. Word is, he helped run daily operations, the kind of behind-the-scenes stuff that Future trusted him with. So now the million-dollar question becomes, where did the legit hustle end and the illegal grind begin? That's the kind of blurry line the feds love to twist into a RICO case. And they've been known to turn those gray areas into lifetime sentences.
Not only talking about that staggering amount of fentanyl you mentioned, but also items related to distributing the fentanyl on the streets of Atlanta.
Now here's the real shocker. Casino's looking at a mandatory minimum of 10 years with the possibility of life behind bars. At 41 years old, that's like a lifetime locked away. It's wild to think about. The same man who had access to legit money, music, and fame, now sitting in the middle of a federal storm. And what really has people talking is the timing. Casino's been out in the open for years, doing interviews, posting online, even starring in that Feds Did a Sweep video surrounded by cash and flashy energy. So why'd the feds decide to move now? That's the question that got everyone side-eyeing the situation. Real talk. You don't just accidentally find 21 kilos and $380,000 in cash sitting around. That's not a lucky bust. That's a tip-off. Someone must have dropped info. The feds moved with precision. They knew exactly where to go, when to strike, and what they'd uncover. This wasn't random. This was planned to perfection. Casino had been moving under the radar for years, but something definitely shifted. And that's when everything started unraveling. Maybe it was that cross-state link with David Montello Diaz out in California that set things off. Once you've got business running from Cali to Georgia, that's when the feds start paying serious attention. But let's get real. Federal cases don't happen overnight. These agents don't just wake up one morning and decide to hit a door. They build these cases slow and steady for months or even years. They'll tap phones, track movements, dig through financial records, and most importantly, they'll flip somebody from the inside. There's always that one person who gets caught up, scared of doing time, and starts talking to save themselves. Could have been someone who got busted with a smaller stash and decided to give up the big players to keep their own name off a long sentence. That's how the feds build their web, piece by piece, until the trap shuts completely. But here's the thing. This ain't just about Casino getting caught with some illegal product. The feds love turning cases into RICO operations, and they've already got a blueprint from what they pulled with Young Thug and YSL. Think about it. Future's got FBG, Free Bands Gang, a full-blown label with multiple artists, money flowing everywhere, and now federal heat surrounding it. That's enough for prosecutors to start painting a whole different picture. One where Future looks like the boss of a criminal network using music to clean dirty money. It sounds wild, but it's exactly the kind of story the feds love to tell in court. Just like with YSL, they'll dig into lyrics, social media posts, interviews, and even label transactions to make their case. And here's the scary part. Future's in an even riskier spot because his own brother just got caught red-handed with 21 kilos tied to his name. The dots aren't hard for the feds to connect, and that's what's got everyone in the industry watching closely right now. Now this is where things start getting real dangerous. The feds could easily argue that Future knew exactly what his brother was up to and that FBG was being used to clean that dirty money. Let that sit for a second, because if they can connect those dots, things could get ugly. Future's music has always been heavy with street talk, the trap, the grind, the hustle. Songs like Move That Dope and Karate Chop hit different when you realize the feds might be listening too. And here's the wild part. Those lyrics that fans love could now be twisted into evidence. The feds love using rap lyrics to tell a story in court, and Future's catalog is packed with lines about flipping, trapping, and living fast. That gives them just enough room to build a narrative, one where FBG ain't just a record label, but a criminal organization with Future painted as the boss and Casino as his street lieutenant. It's a scary angle, but it's the exact playbook they used in other major cases. Then there's the money trail, and this is where the feds really shine. If Casino was allegedly making hundreds of thousands through illegal means, they'll ask, where did that money go? Did any of it touch FBG? Were those flashy business moves actually money laundering behind the scenes? The feds got entire teams of forensic accountants who specialize in following dirty money through legit businesses until they can tie it all together. See, in 2025, it's not just about busting one person. The feds go for the whole structure. They start from the bottom, work through the mid-level names, and aim straight for the top, just like they did with YSL, just like they tried with Cash Money, and of course, like the BMF case, it's always the same pattern. Start with the soldiers, climb to the generals, and take down the empire piece by piece. So the real question is, why now? Casino's been moving like this for years, so what made the feds storm in during November 2025? Some say it's because the new Trump administration decided to tighten up on federal crime, bringing back that old school law and order energy. Others think someone high up in Casino's own circle got jammed and decided to start talking. Or maybe, just maybe, the feds had finally stacked up enough proof to launch a much bigger RICO case. Whatever the reason, this timing feels too perfect. But here's what really got everyone scratching their heads. Why was Casino still in the streets when his brother Future could have easily put him on payroll? We're talking about a global superstar worth hundreds of millions, yet his blood brother was still out here risking his life and freedom for crumbs. Was it pride? Was it that need for independence? Or did Future start pulling back because he knew this day was coming? See, in street culture, there's this mindset. You never turn your back on the game that built you. Some folks feel like they owe the block something, even when they've already made it out. Casino might have felt trapped by loyalty, tied to the same network he built, the same people who once helped him rise. But that kind of loyalty can turn deadly quick, and now it might end up costing him everything. Family ties can be powerful, but when the law steps in, business turns cold fast. Future probably told Casino years ago to fall back and leave that life behind. But let's be real, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. And now Future's stuck in an impossible spot. If he helps his brother, he risks being dragged into a federal conspiracy. But if he stays quiet, he watches his own blood-faced life behind bars. It's a heartbreaking position. Fame, fortune, and family all colliding in the worst way. Now here's where things get real dangerous. If Future decides to pay for Casino's legal defense, the feds could twist that into evidence of a criminal enterprise taking care of its own. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but that's exactly how these prosecutors play. The question now is this case really just about Casino, or are the feds quietly building something bigger behind the scenes? Right now, Casino's facing conspiracy charges, which means they already believe he was working with others. They've got that California connection with David Montello Diaz, plus years of social media posts, interviews, and even music videos that could all be flipped into evidence. When you look at how these agencies operate, this could be just the opening move in a much larger push to take down FBG as a whole. And here's where it gets even more serious. This wasn't just some random police squad that grabbed him. The operation was led by a Homeland Security Task Force, the same type of unit that goes after transnational criminal organizations. These folks have deep resources, endless manpower, and one mission: to go after big fish. The fact that they were brought in for Casino's case says it all. They think this goes way beyond one man hustling on the side. At the end of the day, Casino's story isn't just about getting caught. It's about pride, loyalty, and the brutal consequences of not knowing when to step away. He had every opportunity to leave that world behind. His own brother is one of the biggest names in the music industry. He could have been set for life, chilling in luxury instead of facing decades behind bars. Casino's story hits hard. It's a warning about what happens when you can't outgrow the environment that once made you. He had the blueprint for success right in front of him. His own brother, Future, went from the block to global superstardom. But instead of following that same path, Casino stayed tied to a game that was never loyal to him. Now he's 41 years old, staring down a possible life sentence, and for what? Money he didn't need? Respect from people who vanish the moment he's locked away? It's a painful cycle, and it's playing out in real time. The question now is, what happens next for Future and FBG? Because if the feds are truly building a RICO case, this is just the beginning of something way bigger. Every move, every post, every lyric, they'll be watching it all. Future's going to have to make some serious decisions about his brother, his label, and his entire business structure if he wants to keep himself protected. One wrong move could change everything. And here's where the stakes get even higher. This case could shift the entire hip-hop landscape. If prosecutors can convince a court that FBG operates like a criminal organization, it sets a dangerous precedent, opening the door for them to go after any label or artist connected to street culture. Imagine that. Every rapper who ever spoke on struggle, hustle, or survival could suddenly find their lyrics turned into evidence. The message couldn't be louder. Success in hip-hop doesn't make you untouchable when the feds are watching. No matter how high you climb, if your circle's still tied to the streets, they'll use that as a reason to pull you back down. What they're really saying is chilling. They don't believe that artists from the trenches can ever truly leave that world behind. To them, hip-hop culture itself is suspicious. The music just a cover story for crime. That's a dangerous mindset, one that puts every rapper who came up from the struggle at risk. These artists built their lives off stories from the block, but now those same stories are being twisted into evidence. And Casino's the latest example of that harsh reality. 41 years old, facing life in prison, all for money he didn't need and respect from folks who won't even write him once he's locked up. It's tragic, but it's real. Sometimes the hardest move is walking away from the life that made you, but if you don't, that life might end up taking your freedom. The streets will always be there, but your freedom won't. That's the truth most people learn too late. And as for Future, you already know he's got some of the best legal minds in the game working overtime to keep his name clean. But let's be honest, when the feds want you, they'll twist every lyric, every text, every transaction until they can connect the dots. His smartest move right now? Stay far, far away from anything that even looks suspicious, because this case could easily grow into something much bigger than just Casino. Now here's where we turn it to you. What do you think about Casino's situation and how it might affect Future's career? Do you think the feds are secretly building a full RICO case against FBG? Or is this just about Casino's own choices catching up with him? Should Future have done more to pull his brother out of the game? Or is this one of those times where a grown man's got to face his own decisions? Drop your thoughts below. We want to hear what you think. And don't forget, like, comment, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. The streets are watching, the feds are watching, and we'll be right here breaking down every new twist as it unfolds. Hit that notification bell because these federal cases move fast. And when new details drop, you'll be the first to know.